She needs to leave the pool right now. That's how it started. Linda Farnsworth, Queen Bee of Cypress Hollow Estates, looming over my pregnant wife like she was handing out sentences in a prison yard. Her whistle echoing off the water, clipboard ready to strike. My wife, Marissa, froze in the shallow end, sunlight bouncing off the maternity strap of her swimsuit, one hand protectively over her belly. You're violating Section 12. Unapproved attire, Linda barked, tapping her little plastic scepter like she wanted to see sparks. You ever watch a group of grown adults pretend not to eavesdrop? That's what the neighbors were doing, treading water, but all eyes on us. I stepped up before Linda could invent another rule. You're enforcing a policy that doesn't exist, I said, not shouting, but cold enough to frost the air between us. Linda gave me that smirk. If you've ever worked in corporate America, you know the type. Confident, condescending, sure the universe bends to their bylaws. Sir, I wrote the handbook. I think I'd know what's in it. What she didn't know was, I'd written safety manuals thicker than her entire rule book. And unlike her, I could back every word. You can practically smell it when an HOA president realizes she's picking a fight with the wrong person. Stick around, you'll want to see how this one ends. My name's Daniel Mercer. I'm 34, a structural engineer, and my day job is literally signing off on the county certifications that HOAs are supposed to follow. So when someone starts weaponizing bureaucracy against a pregnant mom for wearing the wrong swimsuit, you better believe I'm not bluffing. I build the regulations people like Linda try to hide behind. Marissa was 7 months along, our first, after a long, rough road getting here. Her doctor said swimming was perfect, help with the swelling, help her breathe in the summer heat. Her suit wasn't flashy, wasn't dangerous, just functional. But to Linda, this wasn't about health, it was about control. I've seen that look in boardrooms. People thinking policy gives them power over actual lives. But this wasn't a boardroom. This was my wife, being humiliated, with half the neighborhood as silent witnesses. Linda raised her voice for the crowd. If she refuses to comply, she'll lose her pool privileges for the season. Marissa's cheeks burned. I didn't let her answer. She's leaving, I said, my voice shaking with the effort not to lose it right there. The lifeguard, just a kid, maybe 19, looked ready to vanish into thin air. The families on the edge started gathering their towels. Not a single person said a word. That's how HOA power works, best in silence. I wrapped Marissa's towel around her, helped her out, all the while Linda standing there like she'd just won a battle. The second we reached the car, I checked the HOA app on my phone. I knew I was right, but I wanted to see it in black and white. And sure enough, not a word about pool attire in the rules. Pets, parking, patio decor, but nothing about what you can wear to swim. This wasn't enforcement. This was harassment. In my line of work, when someone fakes a rule to bully someone else, that's not a mistake. That's fraud. I looked back at the pool. Linda's still by the gate, probably bragging to her bored buddy about keeping order. The smell of chlorine hit me even from the lot, but something else bothered me. The water looked cloudy, the kind of haze you see when filters start failing. My gut twisted. You'd think I was mad about the embarrassment, but really, I was scared for my family's safety. That pool didn't look safe, and my wife, carrying our daughter, had just been kicked out by a woman who cared more about rules than health. That night, when Marissa had contractions from the stress, I sat beside her hospital bed, listening to the steady beep of the monitor, and knew I was in a fight, whether she wanted me to or not. Because when a woman in power tries to shame a mother and risks public safety at the same time, that's not a neighborhood problem. That's my professional territory. By the next morning, the whole community was buzzing. The HOA forum, usually just lawn complaints and passive-aggressive dog poop notes, was now all about the pool incident. Linda had posted a memo overnight. All residents are reminded that proper swimwear must be maintained in accordance with HOA standards to preserve community values. According to what standards? I muttered, already triple-checking the bylaws. There was nothing there. The stress the hospital blamed for Marissa's contractions, that had a name. I started combing through the HOA's digital rulebook like an auditor, and it didn't take long to find the cracks. The document had been edited just weeks ago, by Linda herself. No board vote, no signatures, no controls. She'd just added and subtracted whatever suited her. That wasn't authority. That was fabrication. All the while, Cypress Hollow stayed postcard perfect, sprinklers hissing to life, hedges lined up like military formation. But rot hides behind perfection. That cloudy pool water, the missing permit posted by the gate, it gnawed at me. I started making notes, just like I would on a job site. Observation: pool water shows high turbidity. No current county certification posted. It wasn't just Marissa. This was systemic. I've worked on projects where oversight failures led to lawsuits, even evacuations. Negligence is like algae. It spreads silently until someone calls it out. By noon, a folded HOA notice was taped to our door. Any further interference will result in disciplinary review. Signed, L. Farnsworth. That's when I realized this was war by paperwork. Marissa, bless her, begged me to drop it. Let's just avoid her, Danny. Please. But I already knew I wouldn't. I logged into my firm's database, looked up Cypress Hollow's latest pool permit. It was expired, 26 months. Legally, that pool should have been closed. No inspections, no safety checks, not even a pretense. What I needed now was proof, something that would hold up under county review. Expired paperwork was one thing, but if I could tie it to negligence or fraud, that was a whole new level. I started documenting everything: photos, dates, a copy of every memo. One neighbor kid got a rash. His mom said it was just chlorine, but my mind was already connecting the dots. Next day, I went back to the pool, not to swim, just to see. The chlorine smell was overkill, like someone trying to hide a stink. Ray Collins, the maintenance guy, was there, sleeves rolled, arms dusted with pool chemicals. He jumped when he saw me. I made small talk, dropped hints about the pumps, the filter sound. At first, he played dumb, but then his hands started shaking, wrench clattering on concrete. I'm not certified for the mechanical stuff anymore, he mumbled. But his eyes kept darting toward the clubhouse. I pressed him gently. Eventually, Ray admitted what I suspected. Filters hadn't been replaced in a year and a half. Certifications expired. Linda told him to fudge the logs and not post new inspection dates. She said it would cause confusion. He muttered, guilt written all over him. He wasn't the enemy, just a guy trapped between a paycheck and his conscience. Then came the threat from Linda herself, veiled. Stress isn't good for expectant mothers. That kind of concern curdles the blood. I went back to my office that night, started digging deeper. The HOA's public budgets, identical every month. No receipts, no real records. Falsification, pure and simple. I messaged Ray. If filters or pumps are malfunctioning, it's not just an HOA issue. It's a public health violation. Just reply yes or no. His answer, yes. That was the fuse. I filed a report with the county. Potential falsification of maintenance records, expired water safety permit. Request immediate site inspection. County confirmed receipt. Case 2275A. The next morning, county inspectors rolled up in blue uniforms. By noon, they were sealing off the pool, testing the water, checking the logs. Linda tried to bluff, equipment malfunction, clerical errors, but the inspectors had the real data. Chlorine levels less than half the legal minimum. Pool closed pending investigation. Residents started talking, finally, about safety, refunds, liability. Linda was cornered, board members scattering like mice. Ray, across the deck, met my eyes with a nod. He'd come through. The same gate that had shut out my wife was now locked against Linda herself. A day later, the compliance hearing. City Hall, packed with residents and cameras. I presented my evidence, original logs, photos, timestamps. Ray backed it all up, trembling but honest. The county found enough to suspend the HOA's authority, trigger an audit, and refer Linda for possible criminal charges. As I walked out, Ray caught up with me, relieved, stunned. It's really over. Not over, I told him. Just corrected. The next morning, the neighborhood felt honest, finally. The pool, half drained, sat quiet. Marissa and I stood at the gate. New safety board posted, county seal shining. Real contractors worked behind the fence, no more faking it. Ray showed up with a clipboard. He'd just been offered a city job, supervising the site. Funny, isn't it? All it took to fix things was admitting they were broken. That evening, families gathered as the pool reopened, caution tape cut, laughter echoing. A reporter asked if I had any comment. No one should be afraid to ask for proof. Linda's house sat dark. Rumor was she'd left town, selling up to pay the fines. No goodbyes, just silence. Fitting, really. Marissa and I walked by the lake at sunset. Do you regret it? She asked. I thought of everything. The fights, the threats, the nights at the laptop, and then the new inspection board. The parents no longer afraid to ask questions. Not once, I said. Our daughter's going to grow up in a safer place. Because that's the thing about accountability. It's not about winning. It's about leaving something better behind. As we headed home, the pool lights glowed in the dark. The gates that once barred my family now stood open. No threats, just clean water and quiet justice. And when authority preys on silence, all it takes is one person refusing to back down. That's how you break the cycle. That's how you make a place worth living in. If you've ever had to stand up to an HOA or any bully with a rulebook, share your story below. Let's hear where you're watching from and what justice looks like where you live.